Hey YouTube, Ben here. Today's topic is peacocks. Peacocks are becoming a little bit of the forgotten fish in our hobby. A lot of emphasis on what are being called predator haps. Of course, we have some great people that are promoting that. Evan Alexander with hashtag Hapnation. Myself, I'm also a big proponent of the Haplochromis, in particular the predator, what we call the predator haps. But the truth is that all cichlids are really predators. And any fish that can serve as prey that is small enough or can fit in their mouth or can be hunted and killed and eaten is going to be eaten by a cichlid. Whether it's a peacock or a hap, it really doesn't matter. So the truth is really these cichlids really are all predators. Now, some of them display very interesting predator behavior. For example, your ambush predators, your Nimbochromis, like your Venusus, your Linneys, your Livingstoni, your Fuscos, and these fish, your polystigmas. These fish do display some very interesting habits, such as playing dead, burying themselves in the sand, hanging outside of rocks and waiting for baby Buna to be vulnerable and moving in on them, like the Linney does with that snout it has. So there are certainly some haps that display very interesting predator behavior, but all the cichlids really are predators, and so the term predator hap, you could also say predator peacock. That wouldn't be that far off the mark. But let's take a look at peacocks. I had a gentleman named Kevin, and I hope I'm not butchering his last name, Kevin Caruana, C-A-R-U-A-N-A, Caruana. He's over in Gibraltar. One of the things I love about this hobby is the international nature of it. I have friends in all over the world, and this one, Kevin, in Gibraltar, wanted me to talk a little bit about peacocks, which have become to some degree the neglected cichlid in a lot of circles. I love peacocks. Let's make that perfectly clear, even though I do promote predator haps quite a bit. That has been the focus of a lot of my videos. But let's take a look at some of the peacocks that I currently have and some of the peacocks that I'm bringing along, and that will eventually populate my 60-gallon, currently a grow-out tank, but it will eventually become a peacock tank. So let's take a look at that right now. Thank you so much for tuning in. When I first got into cichlids, made the transition from discus to cichlids, one of the first cichlids I really had my heart set on was a bicolor 500. A beautiful fish with a yellow-green stripe behind the gills that you can see here. The coloration of the face is beautiful. And interestingly enough, the reason they have that name is because they were number 500 list of cichlids. Another fish that gets a lot of attention among my peacocks is the otter point. Very often when I post pictures or video of this fish, sometimes I've even had people ask if this fish was photoshopped, only because of the coloration being so spectacular. There was a point where I was considering going strictly with haps, and it was at that point that this fish colored up and sort of made up my mind that I was going to stick with peacocks and would not go exclusively to haps, but would maintain two tanks, and one a peacock tank and one a hap tank. I have an unusual fish, a Komeliac blue gold. This is a peacock. You can see he's got a beautiful blend of colors, the blues and golds, a little similar perhaps in his coloration to the bicolor 500. I think he's a very pretty fish. I also have a Eureka Red that I picked up from Imperial Tropicals over in Florida, who just suffered a little bit with Hurricane Irma, but they are rebuilding and will be back in full stride in no time. That's Imperial Tropicals. Give those guys a little support down there. They need it. They have some great fish. This was from them, and it is a Eureka Red, one of my favorite fish. I also have not to change the subject too much here, but I have a crazy bucanono or a Bucachromis notatania. If you have one of these fish, can you comment below and let me know if yours is the Energizer Bunny and spends the entire day flying back and forth. This is why a fish like this, you really need a 6-foot tank, maybe even an 8-foot wide tank, because boy, he fires across that tank really fast, back and forth. If a fish happens to get in his way, he just bumps it with his head. And very popular fish among my videos, as well as this tetrastigma, the often called the intermedius. The difference between the peacocks and the haps, of course, is the peacocks have very distinct markings and coloration, whereas with the with what you would call the haps or predator haps, you would have more of this translucence, this sort of changing of color from blues and greens and reds, depending on the angle that you look at. You know, when you're looking at the fish, you'll see different colorations, and makes haps very appealing. As you can see, I have a lot of love for the bicolor 500, my Otter Point. I post a lot of pictures of the Otter Point, especially on Instagram. I also have a what I call the Old Man, and this is a blend, I believe, of a peacock, perhaps a peacock, and a Mbuna. If you know more about that, post it below. But this is one of the first fish I've ever picked up when I switched over from discus to cichlids. Was this? It was a juvie, about a ½ inch to an inch fish, and it blossomed into this beautiful OB. Some people call him orange blotch. Some people call him orange blossom. For me, he's just the Old Man, and he's a fish that I like quite a bit. I also have had or have currently a sunshine, a yellow Benga sunshine. Another fish I picked up from Imperial Tropicals. He was very drab for quite a while when I had him in the 135, but when I brought him over to the 60, where he became one of the larger fish, he really started to color up. His yellow started to pop. I also, just to show you my commitment to peacocks, I also have in my quarantine slash what is becoming now a little baby grow out tank, I have some blue neons. These are blue neons that I picked up from Imperial Tropicals, and they just got fed, so they're looking a little they're moving around pretty quick. They're darting around a bit, but here I'll show you. I'll get a little bit of a close-up on one. There's one right there, right in the middle. You can see him. He's a blue neon, and this peacock is just a spectacular peacock. I've downloaded a couple images from the web. You can see how they look. I mean, just a spectacular fish. I hope to have him and perhaps add a flame tail, a very nice flame tail of the red variety. I hope to also pick up a lemon jake. I had a lemon jake at one point that I loved. I think he would look really good with the Eureka red, you know, the OBs. So there you have it. So as you can see, I have some nice specimens on hand. I have some that are growing out that are pretty nice. And make no mistake, I love peacocks. They're a very, very beautiful segment of the African cichlid of the Lake Malawi population, and they should never be neglected. They are very much one of my favorite fish. And certainly leave your comments below. Do you have a favorite? Do you have a favorite hap? Do you have a favorite peacock? Talk about it below. Give some other fish keepers some ideas of some fish that they might be interested in looking in on, and let's continue to contribute to the hobby. Thank you so much for tuning in. You are appreciated. Do comment, and do visit on Facebook. You can see the address up here. And also, if you would like and would like to see some of the ongoing posting that I do of fish and progress on some of my projects, you can follow on Instagram. Again, I'll put it up here, ben.o.cichlid on Instagram. Thank you so much for tuning in, and you are appreciated. Bye-bye.